This is going to be the best show ever. That's why the devil is trying to stop you in your tracks, telling you you're not good enough, telling you that you don't have what it takes, telling you to go ahead and just give up, that not a thing that you're doing matters. And we all know that's not the truth, America. Thank you for joining us at the MVP, the Michael Bender Podcast. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Boy, we sure do got a lot of cards today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Michael Bender Podcast, the MVP. Welcome to the show. Today is Sunday, January 18th, 2026. We are coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. I am your host, Michael Bender. I want to go over just some great things in my journey, in my walk. It's going to be a super exciting show. We have a lot of good stories. Met some new people, some major just headway and momentum in the Bender Nation is going down. And, you know, I didn't want to shortchange anybody because not everyone knows my story. And they just think I might just be this guy who just decided to be some self-help coach, jump online, but really doesn't know my background. And, you know, I didn't want to shortchange anybody at all. So I want to give you my qualifications, kind of in a Cliff's Note today, where I came from, how I kind of became the addict that I found myself as most of my adult life. You know, that pinnacle moment where I decided that enough was enough, and, you know, and then finally what I have become, and to this day, coming up on to my year anniversary next week. And, you know, it all started, I was born November 8th, 1976. And back then, things were different. You know, back then, kids could ride in the back of hatchbacks and you not get in trouble. But unfortunately, that's where my journey started, because not even a year and a half out of the womb, my mother passed away from a tragic accident. And a quick brief about my father's side. He was in a 1% motorcycle club and was just living not the dad life. So he ended up meeting this pass around, which I would come to call my mother. She ended up falling in love with me. I was only a year, and he didn't want me. So he said, you know what? Give me $800 in that car and I'll give you all the rights over to Michael. And that's what her and her family did. And she turned out to be the best mother I could ever ask for. And that's where it all started. And I got with this family and was raised super good. You know, I mean, as good as a young person can be. Until about the age of 6. Mom, you know, she had a lot of boyfriends, man. And one of these boyfriends was a sick individual. And I was a victim of sexual abuse at 6 years old. Man, I remember the pajamas I was wearing. There were those yellow footed pajamas that zipped all the way up, you know what I mean? Detailed shit, just the kind of stuff that just, it don't go away. That was one of those things where, you know, shit, man, you're 6 years old. You don't know no better. I really didn't even know what sexual activity was until I was in my teenage years. I was a good kid. I was a good, wholesome kid, you know, never really got into fights, didn't like that stuff, was total anti-confrontational. You know, I mean, it was just, I don't know, I was a good kid. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't experiment with drugs until I was way older. You know, we go to about the age of 14, and mind you, to this point, I have no idea of what my background is. I don't know the truth. As far as I was concerned, Mama, Papa was Mama and Papa, and Mom was Mom. You know, he just never was around. And I remember the day I was 14 years old, and I come home from school. I was actually heading to a Spanish trip across seas. I was a freshman in high school. I was going to be able to go, but I needed a passport. Well, unfortunately, my legal name was different than the name I had been going by my whole life. I was actually a Salters, Michael Salters. And then I got it officially changed to Bender, but I had to, I came home and mom's at the table crying her eyes out. And I'm like, man, what is going on? What's wrong with you? And she's like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, oh boy, well, this is never good. That's back when Beverly Hills 90210 was real popular. And that's the only thing I could think of was, man, this seems like an episode of 90210. It sure was. It was just like a TV scenario for a plot, because I just couldn't believe the words that were coming out of her mouth. I couldn't believe the words that she was telling me, that this person who's sitting across, that I've known my whole life as my mother, this ain't my mom. That in all reality, that I don't know anything about me. And folks, that just absolutely sent me into a spiral of emotional wreck, on top of having to deal with the shit that happened to me as a kid, and just really, it took everything I had to get my identity, which I never truly found until I was an older man. Attempted I did. I went through a lot of phases, but never really truly held anything down. Just like I never held any house down, or family, or a girl, the list goes on and on. But I did graduate high school. Liberty Union, Baltimore, Ohio, go Lions, for show. But I was just hell on wheels. You couldn't tell me what to do at all. I was the most defiant, rebellious young man that I know. And, I know where it stems from. I know where it started. I really didn't mess around and drink. I might have tried a beer or something when I was like 16, but I'm telling you, I wasn't a bad kid. And I really didn't go downhill until I moved out of the house at 17 years old, still going to high school in Baltimore. So I drive from Columbus back to Baltimore. And, I just didn't think that I was unstoppable. I knew it all, wouldn't take advice from nobody. If you told me what to do, boy, it was just all bad. So, that carries me through my 30s. And between the 20 and 30, I ended up becoming a full-blown alcoholic, drinking on a daily, all-day basis. I've tried crack a couple times, really didn't like it then. Definitely cocaine, acid, you name it. The thing that I didn't do all the way until my later years was heroin. And, but there was just nothing that was off the table. And had a daughter, Jessica, and man, she was just my heart, you know what I mean? And I was just a piece of shit. I was a shit truck, didn't know how to at all to be a dad or responsible or a good boyfriend. And, I just totally screwed the pooch on that. Ended up missing the next 18 years of my daughter's life because of these actions. Being homeless wasn't a problem. Really, I'd traveled the country for the most part. Been out to California with a reggae band by that time. Lived in Virginia Beach. If I wanted to go somewhere, I went. I didn't have nothing at all holding me down. In and out of jail, I was working on getting arrested in every county in Ohio. I was close. I didn't make it, thank God. I didn't make that goal. Crazy. But, I knew I needed to change my past. Papaw knew this woman by the name of Janice Sheets, and she had a farm down in the Rio Grande area. And I knew I had to change. I knew I had to do something. I wanted to restart. And the rules at her house, her farm, she had a farm that was there was no drinking, no drugging. And I thought, well, that's perfect. I can go down there, I can sober up. This is my first attempt to sober up. And go down there, and my first day down there, really good, sweet. I ended up Mama Janice. I ended up living with Mama Janice for 13 years. She loved me. My very first day down there, we were walking out into the garden. She's behind me. And she says, Michael, I know you're not gonna believe this, but that's okay. I'm still gonna tell you. I had a vision about you. And I'm like, you did? She said, yeah. She said, Michael, I seen you and you were talking in front of a whole football stadium full of people. You had a nice suit on, you were sitting behind a podium, and you were just talking away. And the next scene I got, you were getting on a private jet. It had a little briefcase beside you. And then Jesus told me to take care of you like you were Elijah himself. And you know what, folks? That's exactly what she did. We got me to work. I had me a Harley. I was taking care of Janice. I'd given my life to Jesus, started going to church, knew that this is what I wanted to be. I wanted to see that prophecy come true, even though no idea how all this is going to happen. I'm just a drunk coming off the streets from Columbus, Ohio, down in Rio Grande. You know, by then I still got all my family by then, but very soon there'll come a time where I am absolutely stripped of everyone I know, everyone I love, everyone I have loved. I tell you, it's you talk about a fight, because what I didn't realize is I was just about to have the biggest fight of my life coming up. I did get married before we get out of the 40s. Something I always wanted to do was get married. Well, I just got married to the wrong person too fast, and I was only married for like 3 weeks. By then, I believe Mamaw had just passed away. Give it another year or so, Papaw passes away. And then my mom's husband, Big Dave, passes away. This is all a moment of time lapse of, oh my God, a couple years, maybe. When I was breaching into my 40s, I was never closer to suicide, self-destruction, absolute abandonment for my well-being or anybody else around me. I was so mad at God because I've been getting my life together. And then this happens. And I thought, well, that is pretty shitty. And man, I sure took it to heart. And I did a lot of blaming where blaming didn't belong, blaming the wrong people. And so I looked for something that was gonna kill me. And I started smoking methamphetamine like a champ. Every day, faithfully, for years. And ended up losing my relationship with Janice. I end up in my 42. I go to prison for 2 years. Just a quick recap on that. This guy that I would buy my steroids off of, forcing himself on my girl. When I confronted him about it, I put it on him, because he didn't have no remorse about it at all. And this big guy turned out to be a big wimp, and called the cops. Well, some guns were involved. Well, the next thing you know, I'm doing 2 years in prison for tampering with evidence. Hell, man, I'd never done more than 90 days in jail. I don't think I even did 90 days. All my shit was stupid drunk stuff. This time I was going to prison, and it ended up costing me everything. Those 2 years, it was like I walked in, Jesus grabbed my hand. He said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start classes. I want you to start teaching these men about me. How to use my practical rules and reality for these men so they don't come back to prison. And you know what, America? That's exactly what I did. I started a class called Bulletproof, which was the ways to use your spiritual armor in the modern day world to avoid coming back to prison. And it was a big hit. Bulletproof was that was a great class. I love teaching those men. I tell you, I got to teach some of the best men that I never would have got a chance to meet if it wasn't for going to prison. Downfall to that, okay, yeah, I got out. The girl that I went to prison for ended up running off with another guy before I had even gotten out. Mama Janice had passed away, and the only thing that I had left was a $100 bill and the clothes on my back, coming out of Mansfield, Ohio. Man, I didn't think I was ever going to get out of that. Real talk. Didn't think I was ever going to get out of that. Ended up being stuck in this little town called Vinton, Ohio, really abusing drugs, absolute shit truck, and having full-blown blackouts. I don't ever want to glorify these stories, but I want you to know, kind of what I've been through. And it was just really hard to get out of that area with no vehicle, no start. I mean, I'm absolutely depending on everybody for everything. And man, it sucked. It sucked. And there came this one point, one night, I had gotten, that's nice, so blackout drunk that I didn't know where I was, how I got there. But I did know all the voice messages I had on my text. And still had the vehicle. It was someone else's vehicle, but I turned in the keys. I said, this is a small town. I was like, they're gonna come get this truck. So, and I ended up walking away, and I was so ashamed of myself. I was just I've never felt disgust like that in my life. Shame. And it was, like -10 out. It was this time last year. And I didn't have nowhere to go. And I thought, man, there's got to be a better life to this. No, my calling has got to be more, than just being a fuck up. So I did something about it. The next morning I woke up and I just could not stop shaking. I couldn't stop crying. I didn't know what to do. Everyone's like, oh man, it's gonna be all right, man. I'm like, no, it's not gonna be okay if I continue to do what I'm doing. And nobody wants to lose their addict friends. So they're all like, man, you don't need to go to rehab. And I'm like, man, I'm going to fucking rehab. I didn't have no insurance. I didn't know what to do. I called Cardinal Health and I was like, listen, I'm fucked up. I want to get clean. I don't know what to do. They said, well, you need to get some insurance. Let's get you insurance. I said, okay. So they gave me a phone number, told me what to do, exactly what to say. I did that and got insurance within like 3 hours. So I called them back, hey, and they're like, hey, this is great. They said, okay, we're gonna find you a bed. Because you gotta have a place to go. When you're as bad a drunk as I was a very high risk of fatality from sobering up. And we found a place, the Counseling Center down in Portsmouth, Ohio. I love you guys, for sure. I went down there and detoxed. I detoxed for a week, and then I got into a program called the Hughes Reentry Program. And what they do is they teach you about why you are an alcoholic or an addict, how to fix those cognitive thinking patterns for the right, how not to be a repeat impulse behavior specialist. Just a great program. So I ended up spending probably, I think, a total of 120 days down there because I went to Hughes and then got transferred to another program. And, I was in great standings. I just really wanted the most out of my treatment. I was really into it. The first 30 days in, I'm telling you, it was like one of those denial deals where I'm like, well, I just needed to get sober. Once I get sober, I got on the Vivitrol shot. So once I get on that Vivitrol shot, then we're gonna be okay. Well, 2 months into the Vivitrol shot, I'm not liking the side effects. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna work on doing this on our own. But I was a little bit nervous because I just didn't want to use no more. I was really done. But I ended up seeing that in-house treatment all the way through. Like I said, it was about 100 days, give or take. It's supposed to be 90, but sometimes we had to wait for some beds and stuff. Then I left there and went back up to Columbus, Ohio, to Forward Health, where they have sober living houses all along the North High Street area, campus area. Really, really bad neighborhood, to be honest with you, to be putting a bunch of addicts. But I understand you get housing where you can get housing. But the fact of the matter is, folks, either you want to do this or you don't. And a lot of people, they don't want to do it, man. That's why they relapse. That's why they die after getting sober. And, it's just the way it is. Some people quit, some people don't. Some people have it. Some people aren't willing to access it because everybody's got it. You just got to be willing to access it. So ended up staying at Forward Health for a couple more months. I've got 6 months sober in, 5 months sober. Never had that in my life. And super just duper amped about my sobriety and was always just knew that relapse was not going to be part of my recovery journey. Because I don't know if I'm going to get another shot at life like I got now. That's my driving force. I don't know if I messed up again, that God would ever give me another shot like he's given me now. So it takes all the what ifs, one mores, and shoots them right out the window, man. There's just no no other options. You know, I was visualizing my goals. I had a whole list of goals. I want to be in a year, next year I want to be here. Next year I want to be here. I would vocalize my dreams, you know, talk about them like they've already happened. Behave like they've already happened. Start dressing like you're already that man. You know, a big thing was writing them down every morning, saying them out loud. It's a discipline thing, but this is a disciplined life. Gym every day, whether you're lifting or not. You should be walking at least 18,000 steps. Come on now, giving it your best at your job, knocking it out of the ballpark, keeping all that negativity out of your circle, eliminating who's not up to par with where you're going with your success. You know, I mean, it was just small things like that led to monumental leaps and bounds when it came to this journey. So we're going up on a year now. RoofCon's coming up. And I'm super duper excited about RoofCon. Because I feel like, when we went to Win the Storm, July, early August, September, something like that. I obviously don't know the exact date, but man, life-changing. Josie Parks, I mean, he just put a killer show on, man. And it changed my life. It changed how I perceive the world through roofing, through Second Chance Summit, that there's so much out there to obtain. I just got to have the balls to go get it. So we go to RoofCon. Let me paint you a picture. We're leaving Ohio. There's snow in Ohio, okay? And we get there to Oklahoma City. It's nice, beautiful. I want to keep my schedule. We didn't get in there till late. So we go, we do our couple things, and I end up going to bed early, wake up the next day in the gym again, at first thing in the morning. Then we go out and we just network all day long. It was so much fun. One of the first speakers that came out, here's how this went down. So me and Joey were in the front row. You got the stage right here. We always sit front row. Got someone filming beside me. I thought, well, that's funny because I'm filming everything too. I got my gimbal up there, and you know, out here walks this guy. And I'm like, I didn't really recognize the name, but as soon as I seen him, I was like, oh my God, it's that J-Hook guy. That guy. Well, this guy's name's Tim Brown. Tim proceeded to give one of the best speeches and motivational ruhas that I've heard in a long time. And it was exactly on what I needed to hear about making content, about growing that relationship with your audience, picking your audience, you know, the heart that you make your content with. Learned a lot about his story. We come from the same cloth, same personality type. And you know, man, great job, Tim. I just want to give you a great job on that. Tim is founder of Hook Agencies, and they are a digital marketing firm out of Minneapolis. That's funny to say, Minneapolis. And he also just opened up a roofing company called Owl Roofing, OWL, where they give a hoot. But big shout out to Tim. Go check his content out on YouTube. At YouTube, Instagram, you're gonna see Tim Brown. Check him out. He's a great guy. He's funny as hell. And you're gonna be seeing a lot more of him on the MBP here in the near future. Thank you, Tim. That was day one. What is about to come and is just crazy. And I'm not ready for it. I go out and I have one of the best nights of my life. You know, hanging out with Shane from the Roof Detective. You know, the knowledge soaking up from this guy and all the wonderful people that I got to meet and talk to. Well, let me tell you, folks, that was short-lived because I woke up the next day and I feel like I was hit by an absolute Mack truck, right square in the teeth. I couldn't believe it. I felt so bad, I couldn't hardly leave the bed. The only reason that I left that hotel room was for Joey. And I was like, if Joey wasn't there, I wouldn't have left. But I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to have him by himself out there. I know. Anyway, I'm down. That night, because we was only there like 3 days, 2 nights. something like that. 3 nights, 2 days. How long was that? It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3 nights, and then I flew out Thursday morning. I wasn't gonna let that go. Man, I flying out to San Padre Island Thursday morning, and I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? This is horrible. And I'm just praying to God that I'm not sick the entire time, that I'm on my first vacation of my sober walk in life. Well, folks, let me tell you what. Anybody who has followed my episodes, knows that I stayed sick as a dog in South Padre Island, leaving my hotel room one time to go get a taco at Jimmy Buffett's bar so that I could give away a t-shirt to Eunice. And Eunice, I still need to get you that shirt. Come and see me at the office when you get a chance. The feelings. So I pull into South Padre Island. I get my car. Everything's going great. I got the sniffles. And I'm just trying to fight it off. I'm trying to keep a good attitude. And man, that first day, when I went back to that hotel room, I didn't get out of bed for 2 days. And the days that I was in bed, it was 80 degrees, no wind. And the minute that I started thinking that I might be able to do something, hurricane winds dropped down to 40 degrees, and my body's not letting me leave anywhere. You know, and then it was the craziest thing, because what is about to encrypt in my life is just raw dog, the best the devil that could come up with to attack me, to deter me from my path. I'm talking about depression, the woe is me's. Why is this happening? Is what I'm doing working? Why am I even wasting my time making content, trying to make a difference when I can't even make myself not sick? I mean, just on and on and on and on, and I'm completely by myself. So I ain't got no one to be like, dude, you're just being erratic. Settle down. Nah, I didn't have none of that. It was take care of it yourself. But I let it beat up on me for a little bit. I sure did. It followed me home, and for 2 days it followed me home. And I'm like, man, what is going on? I mean, I'm talking about, dude, I lost my drive to do anything, and was just like, man, what the F is going on? So I sat there and just analyzed myself and couldn't figure it out till I was walking my laps, and it hit me, and I was like, oh, okay. I see what this is now. I kind of knew the devil would be wanting to knock me off my horse, try to get me at that last mile point of this monumental mile marker. The only thing I had to do was just look at it different, from a different perspective. And folks, let me tell you, that perspective these are challenges that I welcome. This not feeling good, this having to overcome this hump, because things really didn't work out that well, but they did, because I got exposed to bettering myself, to rising above discomfort, even though I didn't feel like it, taking these demons down who thought they had me in a chokehold, but I got to pull out my Rocky Balboa. And you know, at a drop of a hat, the minute that I realized that, everything got better. And it was a conscious decision that I was going to do everything within my power to love as many people and as much as I can. Whatever I can do, whether it be holding a door, whether it be saying hi to someone at the coffee station, or whatever, I was gonna do it. And the minute I started doing it, man, my cup started filling up super duper quicker than normal. Love is the greatest power we have. I'll always say that because it's the truth. If I hadn't made that conscious decision and been like, okay, we need to do something different on this boat. This is a new year. You are not gonna be coming out of this boat with this shitty ass attitude, not grateful and feeling like poop. Not gonna do it. There's just simple tricks, America, that you gotta do on a daily basis when you're overcoming these huge demons. You gotta watch yourself. You got to know your character, know when you're out of character, and be willing to have the discipline and the balls to put yourself back in check, whether you're a guy or a girl, because it does take balls to do that. Know that there's no problems or situations that are too big that cannot be handled. There's only one situation that you can't come back from, and that's death. Anything else, we got this. We can break it down. We can learn from it. We can take all these problems that pop up, all the unfortunates. You're sick on vacation. Your girlfriend might have cheated on you. Your boyfriend might have cheated on you. You might have lost your job. There's endless, countless situations where the fuck-its can come out. Turn these challenges into experiences. No matter what the situation, you can pull something positive out of it. You can learn from it. There's nothing that you can't learn from. You know, if I really were gonna lay everything out on the table, I am forcing myself to make this content out of despite how I feel, because I'm just coming out of this battle that I'm talking about. I'm filling my cup up. And I know that it does not matter what I feel like doing. I know what I must do in order to reach where I'm heading. And this is it. It's not stopping. It's about being honest with my public, not being one way behind camera and then being another way on camera. Real, raw I mean, it's just, these are the raw lessons, raw dog lessons, flat out. I know that what we talked about today is going to help launch you into the best version of you. I'm just so happy I was able to pull everything together on paper, vocalize it to you, put it into transcripts, into the algorithm of who's watching this at this very moment. What a pleasure talking with you today. Be blessed, be a blessing. Spread grins and make friends. I love you, America. Have a good morning.